Hi, this is Nicole here to tell you about the Harlem Renaissance. African Americans were brought to the U.S. as slaves in 1619, and in 1865, by the 13th Amendment, slavery was officially abolished. The Harlem Renaissance occurred after World War I from 1917 to 1935. Some may call it a cultural, social, and artistic explosion. After World War I, U.S. factories had a shortage of workers. African Americans found this as a great opportunity to migrate from South America to North America, to cities like Detroit, Chicago, and New York. Harlem is located in New York. Little did they know, Harlem would become the grand central of the Harlem Renaissance. Black writers, artists, musicians, photographers, poets, and scholars all flocked to Harlem. One of the main places that was very popular in Harlem was the Cotton Club. The Cotton Club featured jazz and entertainment, and it was also controversial. Some artists that could be seen there are Cab Calloway's band, Lena Horne, and Duke Ellington, and his music is being heard right now. Harlem also attracted many poets, including Langston Hughes, Claude McKay, Zora Neale Hurston, and Georgia Douglas Johnson. It also attracted many artists, including Augusta Savage, Aaron Douglas, and Romare Bearden. The Harlem Renaissance was a time where people could express themselves, enjoy jazz and blues, and express racial pride. Many places brought whites and blacks together to dance. Sadly, the Harlem Renaissance faded at the beginning of the Great Depression, but gave America a new social and artistic perspective.
So today on the Breakfast Club, we are welcoming a special guest, Georgia Douglas Johnson. She's a famous poet of the Harlem Renaissance, and today she will be here with me talking about her life and all of her great works. Now let's bring her out. How are you?
I'm doing fine.
That's great. We're very excited to have you here on the show.
Thank you so much. I'm very ecstatic to be here.
So just before you came on, we had a great violinist, Eddie South, playing.
Oh yes, I was watching from backstage. He's great. I loved him.
So I heard that you play violin yourself.
Yes, I do. I taught myself how to play the violin at a very young age.
So you've been playing for years. You must be great then.
I'm okay, but when it comes to my art, my real talent is in writing and plays.
Oh yes, we know. You have 4 collections of poetry: The Heart of a Woman, Bronze, An Autumn Love Cycle, That Share My World. You've written plays, you write music, and I also heard that you write for a syndicated newspaper column. You're very talented. Have you always loved to write? Was there someone who inspired you to write? Is there something you could tell us about your childhood?
I always loved to write. There was nobody specific that influenced me to write. I became very involved in music that led me into writing. As a child, I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, where I was born. I lived with my mother, and I attended school in both Atlanta and Rome, Georgia.
Okay, so can you tell us something about your education?
Well, I graduated from Atlanta University Normal School in 1896 and began teaching in Marietta, Georgia. I then worked as an assistant principal in Atlanta. From 1902 to 1903, I attended the Oberlin Conservatory of Music, where I played the piano and developed my voice.
And where did you go from there?
Well, in September 1903, I got married to a wonderful, handsome man named Henry Lincoln Johnson.
How wonderful and exciting. So what does Mr. Johnson do? Do you have any kids?
Well, he was a lawyer in Atlanta and a member of the Republican Party. He and I had 2 sons, one named after his father, Henry Lincoln Johnson, Jr., and the other named Peter Douglas Johnson.
Did you stay in Atlanta?
No, actually, my husband was appointed as the recorder of deeds for President William H. Taft, and we ended up moving to Washington, D.C.
I know this is probably something new to you since you've lived in Atlanta for so long. We're going to show a quick video talking about your book, and when we get back, we want to speak more with you about your writing.
Oh, hi. As you can see, this is the book 5 Points. lately I've been reading up about Georgia Douglas Johnson. She's written a bunch of books, including Georgia's Review and Stanley Lingenberg, and of course, The 5 Points. These all have one wonderful thing in common. They all share Georgia's beautiful literature action. As I was reading about Georgia, I came across the 13th Amendment. But before that, Georgia faced many struggles. As her poem Black, "Don't knock at my door, little child, I cannot let you in. You know not what a world this is. Wait in the still eternity until I come to you. A cruel, cruel child, I cannot let you in. Don't knock at my heart, little one. I cannot bear the pain of turning deaf ear to your call, time and time again. You do not know the monster men inhabiting the earth, but be still, my precious child. I must not give you birth." This poem is about basically her struggle, and the struggle of getting pregnant by a white man in this white man's world. She basically states that it's unsafe for her newborn child to live in this environment. So please, purchase this book, 5 Points, and experience her beautiful.
Wow, Georgia, that poem was lovely. I know I can't wait to purchase your books. So now, can you give us a bit more insight to your writing?
Well, as you stated earlier, I have 4 different books out filled with my poems. They all represent different parts of my life and are very special to me. I love being a playwright. It is such an amazing feeling to write something and then see people on stage actually bring your work to life. It's very fulfilling. I also write music for my church, which gives me a spiritual connection. It's just so fulfilling. I'm starting to sound repetitive, but when I think about what writing has been and meant in my life, it surprisingly, ironically, since I'm a writer, makes me feel speechless. There are just not enough words in the world to explain how utterly important it has been to me. I'm so grateful every day for it.
That is very inspiring, and I'm glad it makes you so happy, because your works have given so many people hope during the Renaissance. Well, it's noon, and that's all the time we have today. Thank you so much for coming, Georgia. Everyone remember to tune into the Breakfast Club tomorrow morning for our surprise guest.